I'm the Jody Saver and welcome back to my channel. So we are in mid-December now and we're nearing the end of 2023, which is quite scary but also exciting because I always think with a new year brings new opportunities and a time to reflect on the past year and then also think about what your goals are for the year ahead. So I've been doing a bit of that thinking recently, and in this video I'm going to share what my goals are for 2024, but also what the successes have been in 2023. And the hope is that I'll be able to look back on this video in a year's time and then review whether I've met those goals, what stood in my way, have I exceeded the goals, things like that. I kind of wish I'd done this time last year and I would have had that video to reflect on. Before I go into the main video, just to flag, as always, that I am not a financial advisor. Um, I love talking about money and my own personal finance journey, but please don't treat it as financial advice. If you are going to make any decisions with your money, then do your own financial research and do seek a qualified professional if you need any help with your finances. So, with that out of the way, I'll start with my successes from 2023. I'm hoping I've spelled successes right. It's always one of those words that I'm like, how many C's has it got? How many S's has it got? So, number one is overpaying my mortgage. I should say our mortgage because it's joint with my partner. We've overpaid our mortgage by £1,400 this year. Now, I was debating whether to class this as a success or a failure because to me it's a bit of both. I'm really proud of the fact that we've overpaid by £1,400 because that is an amount of money that we don't have to earn in the future to pay off our mortgage. We've contributed that extra bit this year, and hopefully it means that our life will be that bit easier in the future regarding earnings. The the bit I would classify maybe not a failure, but maybe a bit disappointing is that I set out with the goal at the start of the year to overpay our mortgage as much as possible. So if you followed my journey in 2022, you'll know that we were overpaying our mortgage by around £1,000 a month, um, which was amazing. It knocked lots of money. I think it was maybe 15 grand came off the mortgage balance in 2022. So we really made a dent in the mortgage. We started out well this year, but there was lovely experiences which came up with my personal life, which were once in a lifetime experiences that cost an awful lot of money, and that's where the money went. Now, I don't regret that, but what I do regret is the fact that once I stopped overpaying by large amounts, I lost a bit of momentum with the journey and I just stopped overpaying altogether. Um, and it was really hard to build up that momentum again. So, and that momentum sort of went with this YouTube channel as well. So you'll have noticed that maybe from April, May time onwards up until October, I didn't really post any content on this channel because I wasn't overpaying. I was just a bit feeling a bit flat that I hadn't achieved that goal. So I have been building up that momentum again, and it was a good lesson to learn, and that was no matter um, what I overpay, even if it's £1 a month, it's important that I overpay something for myself to keep up that momentum. And we'll touch on that in my 2024 goals. But yeah, just a bit of a reflection from this year. The second goal, I should say the second success, is that I hit £6,000 in my stock and shares ISA. So if you watch my videos, you'll be aware that I invest regularly in a um, stock and shares ISA through the Vanguard platform in the UK. Now, a bit similar to the mortgage, I've had a bit of a sort of tricky path with my investment journey. So I was doing really well in 2022, and then at the end of 2022, I didn't have a big enough an emergency fund, and I needed to have some cash accessible. So I actually hit £6,000 in 2022, but then I had to take almost £2,000 out to pay for something in my personal life. And again, that sort of stopped the momentum with my investments, and I've really had to try and build that money back up. So eventually, it was this month actually, and you'll see it on my December Vanguard portfolio update video is I finally hit £6,000 again in my investments. And again, in one sense, I can see it as a failure, but for me, it's a really useful lesson that I've learned, and that is that similar to the mortgage overpayments, really it's about keeping momentum and not dipping into my investment. So for me, my Stockman shares ISA is a long-term investment, and I don't want to be dipping into it in the next few years. I'm wanting to leave it grow itself and for the interest to compound. So yeah, that was number two. Number three is that I've built up a £3,000 emergency fund. So this is something I'm really happy with because at the start of the year I had a very light emergency fund. I think it was £1,000 or less. In my view was, well, I'm overpaying my mortgage, I'm putting stuff in my ISA, I don't need an emergency fund. But actually you'd be surprised at the number of things that crop up in life where you need that extra bit of cash and that extra buffer. So yeah, it's a lesson that I've learned that I really want to keep at least at £3,000 in my emergency fund. Um, and yeah, those are my three successes from 2023. Um, Now, what are my money goals for 2024? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a sort of a basic one, and then I'll move up. So the number one, and this is the one that I think I should be able to achieve no matter what, and it's to invest, overpay, and save every single month. So even if that's £1 of each, I want to be feeling personally like I'm making progress. So even if come a year's time, I've invested an extra £12, I've overpaid by £12, and I've put £12 into my emergency fund. That is progress because I'm um, a step ahead than what I am right now. I think what makes me lose momentum is if I stop doing any of the three, because it's really hard to build that momentum back up. And also, if I, as I've touched on, I don't want to be dipping into my investments. I don't want to be using it as a piggy bank that I dip into because my money's never going to be able to compound if I dip into my ISA. Um, Obviously, if I lost my job and I really need the money, then yes, I will dip into it. But um, other than that, I want to be using my emergency fund that I've been building up. So that's number one. Number two, and this is a bit hard. This is obviously a bit harder. So it's my number two goal is knocking £1,000 a month off the mortgage balance. So I've done the sums, and if I'm to knock £1,000 a month off the mortgage balance over the next 2.5 years, it means when I come to remortgage in around 2.5 years' time, we should have around £80,000 left on the mortgage. And at that point, the plan is that we will cut our remaining term down from around 20 years to um, 8 years or less. And I think getting that goal and getting a mortgage agreement that will only have 8 years left on the mortgage will just be amazing because that would mean that we would be mortgage free at the latest by 43. Um, I know I set out on this channel by saying I wanted to be mortgage free in 8 years, so by the time I was around 38. But as I said, if I can get to a stage where 43 is the latest that I'm going to be mortgage free, then that would be amazing. I know it would take a massive weight off my shoulders. So if I can knock £1,000 a month off the mortgage balance, which is equivalent of overpaying by around £600 a month, then yeah, that would get me to that goal. Um, Goal number three is hitting £10,000 in investments in my Stockman Shares ISA. Um, so I'm around £6,000 now. So that's an extra £4,000 to gain in the next year. So that'll be a mix of me contributing each month, so around £300 each month is what my goal is to contribute, and then hopefully the market will be on the up maybe, and we'll get some interest added as well. And then goal number four is to keep a £3,000 emergency fund. So the emergency fund is there to be used and dipped into when needed. I'm not gonna struggle with my money when I don't need to, if that makes sense. So if something crops up in my personal life where I need that extra money, say I know an unexpected bill comes or what have you, then I'm going to dip into that emergency fund, and the plan will be that I'll always build it back up to at least £3,000, and I'll contribute a little bit into it each month. I mean, alongside this fund, I am also trying to um, buy premium bonds every month, which is a secondary emergency fund which I'm using. So those are my goals for 2024 money wise, and then I've also jotted down some um, goals for this channel. So I've called them the Geordie Saver goals. So number one is making a video every week. So at the moment, with all the portfolio updates that I do, I should have at least one video a week. But it's important for me that I keep up the momentum. You know, it's one of these things, if you stop doing something, then it's really hard to get back on that horse and start doing it again. So goal number one, make a video every week. Goal number two is to hit 1,000 subscribers. So I'm at 312 subscribers at the moment. Um, it's been a very long journey to get to 312, but I think the longer the journey is, the more appreciative you are when you hit milestones. I've been loving the community that I've been building up and the people who comment on my videos and say insightful things about personal finance, tell me about their journeys, and the more people who subscribe, the more that conversation happens in the comments, which is great. And obviously, the perk of getting 1,000 subscribers is if I have enough watch time, then I would be able to monetize this channel, and it's an extra income stream that I can put towards my money goals. Um, and then number three is something that I've recently started doing, and that is writing my own personal finance book. And the plan is to self-publish that via Amazon direct publishing in the new year. Now, this is a really big passion project of mine. I was considering waiting until I'd become financially free before writing the book, but actually, I think there's a lot of lessons I've learned so far on my journey that people might want to read about. And yeah, it's just really motivating me at the moment, and I'm really excited and enjoying writing the book. I'm trying not to rush it because there's obviously a motivation to write it as quickly as possible and then have a digital asset that I can sell. But the reality is I want this to be the best job I can do on writing the book, and I'm really enjoying doing it. So why do I want to rush something that's a hobby and that I'm enjoying doing? Writing a book of some form has always been a goal of mine, and I, I think what I'm learning this year is that you can't put things off forever. I'm not going to wake up one day having a fully written book. There's never a perfect time to do things, and you can make an excuse to say, well, why would anyone want to read a book that I publish? And all those negative self-talk things that I think we all naturally do. But for me, I've got to do things that are goals that I've always wanted to do. And even if I don't sell any books, the fact that I'll have written the book and published it myself, it'll be a massive achievement. So yeah, those are my goals for 2024. Let me know in the comments below what your goals are. And as always, thank you for watching the video. And if I don't make a video before the end of the year, then do have a Merry Christmas, and I hope you enjoy your New Year celebrations, and I'll see you on the next video.